Hey everyone, Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts here. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Craftember November. And as per usual, I'm going to hop on YouTube real quick. Just make sure. My end, of course, everything looks like it's working. And on YouTube, and everything looks like it's working. Usual. So, okay, I think we're good. So I hope you all have had a good Saturday. Actually out shopping today, and oh my god. So I had to go to Michael's. I mean, Michael's was busy. I was expecting that. I had to go to Five Below, which I haven't been in Five Below in forever, and that was a little overwhelming. But I had to go to Target, and y'all, I swear it felt like it was like the week, like the second week in December or something. It was crazy. I mean, just busy. And I was there for a specific purpose. I don't really, since COVID, I do Target mostly drive up or delivery. Just never got back in the habit of, Saturday running errands like I used to. Also most Saturdays are spent in here doing stuff. So, but I hadn't really looked at anything. And so like all the chocolate candy is buy one, get one 50% off. So like, well, I guess I'm buying stocking candy today. 'Cause and then they had all the Wicked stuff out. And then I found Wizard of Oz Smashmallows. Yeah, it was a day. But anyway, it was fun. Got my first peppermint mocha of the season, which I didn't take a picture of, which made me pretty happy. Big peppermint mocha fan. So anyway, enough of that. So what we're going to do today, one of the people that I follow on YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. So one of the streamers that I follow on YouTube, this is really crooked. That's a little better. One of the channels is called Whiskey and Wit. Her name is Whitney. I have to follow her. It's the law. And she does a lot of really amazing, like Dollar Tree dupes and things like that. And so one of the things that she did in one of her last videos was to take and repurpose an old frame with rub and buff and give it that gold kind of gilded look that's really popular right now. And I got super excited about that because I have a ton of old picture frames, not like old antique-y, vintagey ones, but just like old from, what we used to have pictures in around the house. And those are things that I have been hesitant to get rid of because like there's got to be a use for these. And so I have rub and buff. I have a bunch of these frames. This one is kind of a wood base. And then she just did that and then took a printable, which by the way, if you follow her, she has a free library of printables. She also, I think, has a paywall membership thing. I didn't get this from her. I got this from the Crafting Coop. I have a membership to that service, so I get printables from there. But she has some really nice ones too. And then she just took the printable and put it in the frame. And so I was like, well, okay, we're going to give that a shot. So what you need for this is just an old frame, wood or metal, any size. I would imagine that this would work well if this was kind of a detailed, intricate frame, but I'm going to try it just this first time out with just this, nice smooth surface. So you need that. You need some rub and buff. I'll put a link in the video description. I got a 4-pack. There's actually a 9-pack out there. I didn't even realize there were that many colors, but I got a 4-pack that has silver leaf, ebony, gold leaf and antique gold. I'm going to use the antique gold for this because I think the gold leaf might be a little too bright for this printable. I didn't put it in the video description. I'll go back and do it, but you're going to want some disposable gloves for the rub and buff. And that's really all you need. You might need a cloth to wipe down the frame after you've got, you know, the rub and buff on it, in case you want to like remove some of it if you think you've got too much. This is dried on me a little bit at the top here. Just gonna take a toothpick and get some of that out. And we're just gonna take this, and I will link to her video as well. I had never really used rub and buff for anything before, and I don't remember what I got it for the first time, but I was like, oh, this stuff is really cool. And it would probably take a couple of coats of this to completely cover the black. This does smell. So I'm going to turn actually I'm going to turn my ceiling fan on just to get some air circulating in here. So you'll want to, you know, make sure that you have a fan going, or, you know, if you're in a room where you can open the windows. This kind of stuff doesn't really get to me that much, but other people are more sensitive, and, you know, if you've got respiratory issues or things like that, obviously you're going to want to make sure you have good airflow. But if you've never used rub and buff, definitely different consistency than gilding wax. I think, you know, both have their purpose. But this is kind of cool too, because you don't, like, depending on the look you're going for, you don't necessarily have to do multiple coats, because that black showing through looks kind of cool. Now I do want a really gold finish here, so I'm gonna do a second coat on this. And you can definitely use this just to add a little bit of an antique look, but if you're gonna do that, I would highly recommend doing that with a brush and just very light, because this stuff is pretty darn thick and you get a lot of coverage really fast. And so if you were just going for like a very light gold look on something, you might end up with more coverage than what you wanted. Just gonna go around the sides here. So this again is one of those things that if I was doing in a recording, I would go back and edit out, especially because I'm not even all the way in the frame. So if you're watching on the replay, you could probably fast forward a little bit. If you're watching me live, feel free to, you know, step away, get a beverage, get a snack, anything like that. I won't take offense. The tricky part of this is like anything else, you know, like painting or whatever, like what do you do when you're trying to get the sides of it? This one is pretty sturdy, sits up pretty well on its own without me having to hold on to it. So, actually, I got that part. And this stuff the rub and buff does dry pretty fast. And you can also kind of take a cloth, kind of like you can with stain, right? And just remove excess. It won't wipe it off completely. And then, you know, I can take a paper towel and lay it down on my my mat here to be able to lay this on its side or face down to get the back. But really, I can probably just stand it on that side without too much trouble. And just hold it down. And then, you know, once it's completely dry, you can go back over it and buff it out a little bit. With a cloth. And, you know, it's going to create some more of that antique-y kind of look. Probably going to need to either wipe my gloves off or switch to a clean pair, because I think I'm creating mess here. Okay, so I think I got all the sides there. I'm just gonna lay it down. And come across the back. You don't want to rub it too much. That's what I actually inadvertently ended up doing on that one side there, because then you're just going to end up kind of actually rubbing it off. So you just want to get your layer down, get your coverage down, and then let it dry, and then go back and kind of buff it out until you have the look that you're going for. And you can always go back and add more, you know, if you buff off too much or if your surface soaks it up. I have a couple of really cool reels saved for some upcoming projects. One really, really cute little ornament idea that probably be next weekend or maybe Thanksgiving week. Kind of a project. It was done with the wood ornament cutouts that you can get from Michael's, so the little wood shapes that look like an actual ornament. I don't have any of those. It's just at Michael's today too. But I do have some of those birch wood circles, and you could do the same thing and it would still look really cute. So that is dry, like none is coming off there. I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to do, oops. A little bit of a second coat. I'm going to get another clean pair of gloves just so that starting fresh. I'm going to use a little more this time. Because again, I want that as much of a gold, completely gold finish on this as I can get. I am not a rub and buff expert by any stretch of the imagination. Just really only used it like 3 or 4 times on projects, so there might be some tricks or techniques to getting it to look how I want that I am missing. But this is an experiment anyway, and I don't necessarily mind how it looks with some of that black showing through. So it's funny, this reminds me though, I have it. My grandmother had a mirror that hung above or behind the couch or sofa in her formal living room my entire life, and it was just a gilded gold, very intricate design, and that's what this gold rub and buff reminds me of. Leave that. Just for the sake of the video, I'm not necessarily gonna do the sides. This is really just about the technique. We're gonna let that sit for a second, and then I'm gonna take my printable, is a little bit bigger than my frame. I'm trying to decide what I want. I don't want to cut off the star, so we're going to line this up with the top of the design. And I'm going to take my pencil and just very lightly draw some lines. And then, scissors. Oh, good grief. You also might need a pair of scissors, just FYI. We didn't talk about that. Well, I'll just use these. I know I had a pair of scissors, like butter scissors down here, because I used them last night. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out because I didn't have any white cardstock, and I wanted to print this on something thicker than just regular printer paper. So all I had was this kind of champagne colored, it's not really even on the sides there, but all I had was this champagne colored cardstock. It has kind of a shiny finish to it, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to work in my printer, but I actually really like it. I think it mutes the colors some. We're going to take this And we're just gonna buff a little bit off. Really, this is mostly just to remove excess that maybe hasn't dried yet. So it's actually lifting some. So I might want to take a paintbrush and go back over that. And maybe not, I don't know, like it's supposed to have a bit of a vintagey feel to it. Now, the glass on this is very dirty, so will need to be taken back out and cleaned at some point. And then we're just gonna drop the pencil in there, even though that didn't cut the way. Oh, look, there's my scissors. Right, so I'm gonna trim this. I forgot to draw a line across the top. I'm gonna trim this down. Sorry, sometimes I forget that I go off camera. Across the top, because I forgot to do that. And that should drop right in the frame there, or not. This is one of the things that I struggle with the most in trying to put things in frames, is getting things cut to the right dimensions. And it's really kind of frustrating, because based on the frame insert, that should be working. And I don't necessarily want to, at this point, I don't want to attach the printable to the frame insert, because if I don't want to keep this in the frame, I don't want it to be attached. So we're going to take just a smidge more off the bottom. Sorry, off camera again. There we go. Alright, so now we have that dropped in there. And then get that back in our frame. And then turn it over, and we have this lovely little picture. Turn it around this way so y'all can see it. So that's super cute. So the only thing that I think I would really do is I would probably take a paintbrush. I have, let's see, is this one? So I would take a little paintbrush and go back over this. I'm going to dip the end of this brush in here, so I know, because the one thing that is challenging about using a paintbrush with Rub and Buff is that it does not come out very well. And so one of the first videos I ever watched on how to do this was a guy who recommended that you get a small paintbrush for whatever colors you're using, and that you dip the end of the paintbrush into the color, and so you know, okay, that is your Rub and Buff whatever color it is. And I'm pretty sure this was my Rub and Buff Gold, but this is a wooden paintbrush that was painted red, and that paint has just come off over time after cleaning the brush, which is also why I don't buy wooden paintbrushes anymore. So I'm just going along some of these places where the black came up probably, so I'll have to go back and watch Whit's video, because I wonder if the frame she used was metal, so I wonder if metal would be different than wood, and I wonder if sanding this down just a little bit to get some of that black paint off might have helped the rub and buff stick better. Or what might have also helped was taking a little bit, like taking an alcohol pad to it and just sort of cleaning that surface. So that the rub and buff sticks a little more. And this is really just me being finicky at this point, because to be honest, it looks perfectly fine. And like I said, I don't use rub and buff a lot, so you know, really getting familiar with applying it and learning how to apply it and get the look that I want, that's just something I have to play with. But you know, some of the dupes she was doing in her video were like Pottery Barn holiday lookbook items, and I went on to the Pottery Barn website before I jumped on the live, and you can't get a gold frame on the Pottery Barn website for less than $30. So if you are looking for this kind of holiday look and you have some old frames lying around, and I'm getting rub and buff on the glass. Sorry, I have to clean the glass anyway. This is definitely worth doing. Because there's just no reason to spend that kind of money. You know, sometimes DIYing it doesn't cost you less than just buying something outright. And she actually talks about that in video. There's something that she came across that when she looked at the price of the item versus the price of what it would cost her to buy the supplies to make it, she was like, yeah, no, it would cost me more to make it than to just, you know, buy it outright. And that's very true. But there are absolutely some times where you can make it so much cheaper, especially if you're not really buying much. Like if it's stuff you already have. Like this literally didn't cost me anything because I had the rub and buff, I had the frame, I have a membership to the Crafting Coop already, so I get the printables for free. So I spent no money creating this lovely little, you know, piece of holiday decor. And this is going to look really cute. I'm going to take this to my show in December and set it on my table as table decoration. And so it's going to go really well with what I'm looking for, or the look that I'm going for. So, okay, so that's that. Super quick, super easy. Hope you all liked that one. Thank you for watching. I will be back tomorrow with another project, and I will be live on Whatnot tomorrow at 2:30 doing my very first show. So I'll put the referral link in the video comments, because if you follow me on Whatnot and hop on to my show with that link, you get a $15 credit from Whatnot, and And I'm like 99% sure that's just a $15 credit on your account. You don't have to spend it at my show. You can spend it anywhere. So I'm actually getting ready to go watch some more of the onboarding videos so I can figure out what I'm doing. Show set, I've got inventory loaded. I need to figure out shipping, and I need to figure out if there's anything actually special I have to do to stream, or do I just do stream show and it goes, or do I have to connect to OBS, or what am I doing? So I gotta figure that out. So I'm gonna go do that now. And then sometime tomorrow afternoon after that, or evening, I will be back live here with another Craftember November project. And if there's, as always, if there's anything you'd like to see me do, or if you have any ideas or suggestions, just put it in the comments or email me at whitney@girlfridaycrafts.com, or drop me a direct message on Facebook. Hope you all have a great night, and I will talk to you later.